Hello, welcome to another episode of Lost Like Mike. I am your host, Mike Gonzalez. Thank you for listening, for subscribing, for commenting, for doing all those different things that help a show grow or help me continue to do the show. This is another late episode. Not too hard on myself. There was a lot going on over the weekend. So actually, it would even be a later show, but I don't know if you could tell if you're listening to the audio or if you're watching on YouTube. But I am not feeling well. I'm sick, and I was sent home from work. So I'm home, and that's why I have this sort of kind of weird vibe. It's like a lot of it, I feel like garbage, and I feel like I sound like garbage, and I'm a little congested, and a little like a little sinus stuff going on where I got a headache and my body feels pretty bad. Tested negative for COVID. But if I sound cheery, I just I'm never I feel like I'm always doing something, and so to be home and I got this weird energy, like it's not all the way bad, but it's there. And it sucks that this is, sometimes you hear people say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not coming in, I'm having a mental health day, which I think is great. I mean, if you have that kind of PTO or paid time off, then by all means, take some time, because the whole thing about it is to have time off with no obligations to do like other projects or other work activities. I took a whole week off, but and it was highly rewarding. Don't get me wrong. But I took a week off so that I could do my Math Rocks program where I performed at elementary schools the entire week. I played 11 shows in those 6 days. In addition, I did my normal 4-hour shows. And so I know it doesn't make a lot of sense when I just throw out a lot of numbers like that, like 10 shows this week or however, but to put it in perspective, basically I've been singing every day for like the past, I don't know, 20 days, something like that, culminating in one big show on Monday where I went to work. I did my day work and got off early so that I could sing from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. So I did an 8-hour show, marathon show. And it was a convention from people from all around the world. There was like over 500 people from all over the world. But the organization was, probably should have paid more of attention, but it was from people from England and from Ireland, mainly, soliciting, like coming down to see what the city had to offer. So we were doing a private party, and then we did, our regular show. But I had people come up and share the microphone with me, where I probably got the sickness from. So I'm going to pause and restart the show. I just realized I heard the dog barking 3 times. If you heard that over the audio, that means that I left the dog outside, to go to the to go to potty or whatever. And then the dog's saying, hey, I'm not an outside dog. My couch is calling. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I apologize for that interruption. Incidentally, Speaking of interruptions, I did attempt to record this episode last night, and I had brought my dog in, and my dog was relentlessly knocking over the lighting and the cameras and different things. I mean, not necessarily in a playful mood, but just not getting comfortable and wanting to barge around my desk and things. I'd like to say that the dog was saying, "You're getting sick, go lay down. You shouldn't be recording tonight." But I think my dog is just that way, and sometimes gets a little bit too needy and bull in a china shop kind of needy. And so I've decided to lock my dog out for this episode, mainly because I don't have a lot of redos in my system today. So anyway, I've been pushing myself pretty hard, singing a ton of shows, and I think that I just got sick. My body is basically saying, all right, if you're not going to take a break, if you're not going to do the things that we ask you to do to chill out, then we're going to shut down and make your body take that rest that it needs. So that's what this looks like. But like I said, I have this weird energy because I'm here. I'm here at home in the middle of the day. My dog freaked out when I opened the door. Was like, "What's going on? Is it my birthday?" And I said, "No, I'm not feeling well." So, and then she said, "I told you last night." No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, but that's why you can maybe even hear like the hustle and bustle of like the neighborhood, mowing their lawns and doing things that people do when it's sunny out and they have time. As I was parking the car, having been sent home from work, I saw this man mowing his lawn, and I thought, well, maybe I can do that while I'm home. And then I said to myself, see, that's my problem. I go out of my way to occupy all those little all the rest times that I'm allotted, like, hey, you have some time here, you want to relax and do nothing for a minute. And I said, well, I certainly can, but there's all these other things that I could fill that time with, and next thing I know, I've been burning it at both ends and I suffer. So I am going to say no. In my defense, it did rain, sometime in the last week. So I can just say that the ground is still wet. And that's why I'm not doing it. Plus, I sound like garbage, and partially, I think it might be allergies. And then what am I going to do? Like, dust up a bunch of grass and get myself, super sick? I don't think so. But anyway, 2 weeks ago was Mother's Day, and that's what ate up my weekend, and in a good way. To all the moms out there, good job. Anyway, but this past week, my son had a bunch of obligations, and I needed to show up for him. His prom was on Saturday night, so I was on boutonniere and corsage duty, picking him up from the florist and different things. I haven't seen any photographs or anything. I saw one, he's like on this one-track mind. He's got his own things going. His mom and his grandfather wanted to take, because they own a photography company, so they want to take nice pictures. I don't know if they ended up doing that. All I know is he sent me one picture that his great-grandmother took of him before he took off, and he wasn't wearing the flower. I'm not butthurt. I just, I did. That was my part of it. I also took him to get his suit rental. It's interesting. Like you you have this child and you raise him, and you instill all these different things, and you think, man, he kind of looks like me and all this, and he's got some of my character, and then you take him to rent a suit, and then he blows your mind with his suit selection. Like, do I even know you? Who are you? Like, who is this kid? Nothing bad, but it's like, he had like, he chose the paisley one that had like designs on it, and it's like this like electric blue vest, and I mean, he looked good. I'm just, I guess maybe I was far more conventional in my choices when I was his age. Like, perhaps. And then he calls me, like during the week, he calls me and says, hey, I'm going to buy a cowboy hat. I'm like, what, like as a gag? Or, I mean, I know he does like ag stuff, and like he works with like goats, and he has an affinity for all things country song related, you know what I mean? Like he has a pickup truck, and he owns boots, and I'm sure he like is friendly with farm animals. I don't know, but I'd like to call and be like, hey, so I need your help getting a cowboy hat. And in my mind, I'm like, well, I mean, I'm sure they sell them at like some boot shop or something, right? And they have them like on this rack or something, But he was like, no, they specially like go through a process of shaping it to your head, and like, anyway, long story short, almost a $500, like over $400, like close to $500 hat. Almost $500, and like there's no like computer chip, right? It's not, there's no like LED lights that come on, or like there's nothing fancy. It's just there's a hat. But I mean, he's wanted one for a long time, apparently, and but it's also kind of a strange thing, because we're in that weird gray zone where like he owns a business, and he like has money in savings, and he has money, but he still looks to me to pay for things, and his mom to pay for things, his grandparents, right? So it's that transitional period where he calls me up and says, hey, I need a hat, can you help me buy it? And then be like, no, dude, I mean, I can, but so yeah, $500 hat. And then on Sunday, he had his dental appointment. God bless him. I mean, I went through the same thing when I was his age. The dentist part of the health family plan was, in my house, was non-existent. I mean, just really didn't happen. I did the orthodontist stuff, and if not for that, I wouldn't have had any teeth, because they were the ones that were like, hey, you need to go to the dentist to get this pulled, or like, I took him to go get started on that process of getting braces. And I think braces are a big character builder, because you can't have like machinery in your mouth and not like be humbled. He's a very humble kid, but I'm just saying, like, it's the great equalizer to like to take a girl out on a date and smile real big, and then have like some Olive Garden breadstick stuck in the metal of your braces. It's just, it'll definitely make you humble. But I took him to the orthodontist, and the orthodontist like, cool, we'll totally start working with him. Ching, you can hear this money adding up, right? But they're like, no, first he has to go to a oral surgeon and have some teeth removed, and he has to go to a dentist and have his teeth cleaned, and and they have to fix him up. And so coordinate all this. Like he and I sat down and we're like, dude, why haven't you been going? And he's like, well, mom said you were supposed to, and this is so mess. So I took him to go get his teeth cleaned, and they were back there forever. But his teeth weren't as bad as mine. I'll put that on the record because I should have told him that, but my teeth were really bad. But anyway, insurance is such a funny thing because he walks out with his piece of paper and he's like, Dad, this is my teeth plan. Like, and it was like over $1,000 of like work that he's gonna need done. And his mom works in insurance, so I said, can you just do me a favor? Like, money all day, like Cat Williams used to say, like, I could pay for that all day, but how about, can you just show that to your mom, tell her to, to put it in her, like, insurance things and, like, find out if they had applied all of the things correctly or whatever. And so she calls and says, hey, they're going to hit you up. They had the wrong information. And then for the same services, they send me a treatment later on that day, and it was like brought down to like $200. So just word to anybody in America that's getting any kind of a treatment plan, or be sure to you're always talking about getting a second opinion from your doctor or your dentist or whatever, or if they're telling you have to do all these things, get a second opinion from your insurance company. Make sure that they rang that up correctly. Oh man, even from last night to today, like I'm picturing me recording last night between grunting at the dog to stop knocking things over. I mean, it's ridiculous. I couldn't even talk last night. It sounded so sick. This thing's falling apart. And yeah. Oh, what a day. So I'm so loopy from all the drugs that I don't remember whether or not I talked to y'all about the school shows that I did. If we got into that, I guess we wouldn't have. But so the one thing I did want to say about it was on the last show of the entire series. And let me tell you how it works. So I've done this for over 10 years. I missed a couple there for COVID, and then I think I had 1 year where I just couldn't do it because I had to take my daughter to a bunch of surgeries. But when we started this process, it's grown and grown and grown, and we do a lot of shows now. So many that they split it into two bands, and like the band that I performed with was going to do 24 shows in a short period of time, because it's an end of year reward given to the kids for doing great on their math program. But since I am at a new job and I've only accumulated a certain amount of time off, I could only participate for 1 week. So that's why I did 11 shows. I did a Friday and then 5 days worth of, Monday through Friday. And but what happens is you get announced, right? And they open these curtains, and then all of this elementary school just goes bananas. And you perform for, about an hour. And I'm talking to the kids and interacting, and you tell them, if you're having a good time, let's get loud. and then they go crazy. And so by the end of day one, you already have this like you can't help yourself but be to feel, good about yourself. It kind of if you let yourself feel like it's about you, right? Like, oh, I'm doing a good job, I'm entertaining these kids. Even that is like a dangerous proposition, because the reality of it is that these kids are at a function, and it could be a guy juggling, and they're at a function, and they're finally allowed to just really lose it and like be loud and get crazy. They're gonna do it. You know what I mean? Now, whether it was me or fill in the blank, I think they would be just as excited. I'd like to think that the way that I go about doing things contributes to that success and that they enjoy it. But just on a personal level, I can't allow myself to think that way, right? Anyway, but you do a week's worth of these shows, and thank God, I have to put it out there. I mean, like I said, during the fiesta week of doing all those shows and doubled by all my engagement that I have at my residency of the club that I perform at, and then an entire week of these shows, as well as my club that I'm performing at, there is no real reason why I should still have a voice in that period. I really focused on rest and drinking a lot of water and paying attention to where I was pushing out from and trying to properly use my voice. But somehow I was making it through I made it through the entire whole period, even the 8-hour marathon show. Crashed and burned, to an extent, because, I had some vocal breakage and stuff at the end. But overall, super proud. I don't know if you can hear the fighter jets. I live near one of the Air Force bases, and they do, during the day, they do these kind of practice flying routines. So I just noticed that a couple times that went through. But if you're hearing it on the audio, that's what that is. They're jets, doing their little rounds or whatever. But on the last show of my tour, of my part of the tour, on that last Friday, my daughter went to see me perform. And I might put a picture of it if I can remember to do that. And the show is in good form. I look over every now and then. She was on stage, on backstage, off to on the side of the stage, and I'd look over and she'd be smiling. And at one point, I called her over. They had these blow-up guitars, fake guitars that she had got herself one, and she was, pretending to play. And she came on the mic and with some other kids that were from the school and sang our last song for the event. And I know that to an extent, she was proud or whatever and enjoyed it. But we're there and we're all done. And she says, the first thing she said was, you look funny jumping up and down. And she starts hopping up and down, like mocking me or whatever. And I was like, well, there you go. That's, there's your humbling experience. That's what you needed to hear. She had fun. And, you could tell she enjoyed it herself. And it's one of those things where she's at that age where I know it's any given moment I'm going to go from being someone that she finds to be cool, or, someone she wants around, and then she's just going to be like, you know, like, hey, I'm going to be with my friends, and can you not be there when we come hang out or whatever? So, but yeah, it's a very rewarding experience because the kids, they really respond well to it. And um I got to say a few words about at every show about um encouraging them to be themselves. They're in that transitional period. Once they hit middle school, it's going to be all about, being popular or fitting in, what have you. So um it was kind of nice to have that ability to say something about that, and incorporate it in one of the songs that we were doing. But yeah, and then you go play at these bars, and then um lately I've been having a difficult time with some of that part of it. I don't know. It's like when you're the life of the party, or when you're doing certain things that are entertaining, then when you drink or the things that you do to get there, people like, and they'll how do you say it? They'll celebrate you for it, or they'll be like, yeah, I like it when you have a couple drinks and you get loose and you talk to people and you get everybody excited. But sometimes, I don't know, like this last show I did, I felt like when you feel judged on the other end of it, it's not a good feeling. It's kind of a drag. So there's some times where I feel like I'm myself no matter what, but I've actually heard, like, from the people that I perform with and things, that maybe when they're like, well, we like it when you get a little more loose and, I guess, out of your head. Anyway, that's a downer. Oh, my goodness. So summer's supposed to be a relaxing time. I think it's supposed to be like there's like a different mentality when you're young, and when like, I live in a household where there's like my wife teaches during the school year, and my daughter goes to school. So here comes the summer, and in their world, things are going to get very chill and relaxed, and they're going to go do a couple field trips, maybe a little vacation Bible school here. I don't know, maybe a little swimming lessons there. But otherwise, it's going to be just relaxation time. But in corporate daddy land, it's just business as usual. You know what I mean? So it's just, there's a weird vibe coming from their end where, like, today was last day of school. Today was she's cleaning out her classroom for the year, and so after today, it's all fun and games. And me, I'm like, I'm at a sick day because I could barely talk and I sound like garbage and I feel like garbage, and I'll go back to work tomorrow, and because I guarantee you, hell or high water, I'm going back to work tomorrow. But sorry, I don't even know if that's, like, bad to put your face in your shirt. Is it bad? You ever see people, like, I grew up in a time where they said, cup your hands over your face, your mouth, right? You're supposed to sneeze in your hand, right? And then wash your hands or whatever. But that was like containment unit, put your hands over your mouth and nose. And and sneeze as hard as you can. And then somewhere along the line, it became put your head like in your arm, right? Like in your upper armpit kind of area, and blow your nose, stupid, sneeze into your armpit, right? Or like whatever this region is of like bicep slash armpit area. And I don't know. I mean, then you watch people like not know if they're like during COVID they would wear the face mask, and then what are you supposed to do? Like, just sneeze into your face mask, and then you're sitting there in the just the germs that your body was trying to expel. You're just like living in that. But like, okay, and like what I'm saying is, you ever stood back and watched somebody sneeze into their armpit? It's like if you would use those special cameras, you could see the general mist all around them, just like sparkle dust, like around when they do this. Like, I don't know who they think they're fooling with this action. Like, I would rather be ostracized for like sneezing into like I keep wanting to blow my stupid nose, sneezing into your hands, and then like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to wash my hands and sanitize them, because nobody's shaking hands anymore. Either way, it's all fist bumps or like, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to touch people anyway. But I don't know how like cool it is to pick your shirt up and put your face in it and sneeze. I'm sure it contains something, right? I mean, I'm alone in my house. Yesterday when I was getting home and I was like, oh, I feel sick, right? I go to say hi to the family, and I go, right? I coughed like that, and that was actually a pretty solid cough right there. But even instinctually, right now, my hand went up to cover my mouth. In this instance, I said, "Hi, honey, how y'all doing? Hi, baby, how you doing?" And and then she lit me up like, what are you doing? You can't cover your mouth. You're coughing in the house and just putting it out in the air. But like right now, I'm alone here in this room, and I put my face into my shirt. I don't know why I'm making a big deal about it. I'm just trying to figure some things out and talk it through, okay? I mean, like, my daughter has this thing where she's getting ready to, and my wife does it sometimes too. And if she learned it from my wife, I'm gonna get really mad. But where she's about to sneeze and she goes, like she'll hold it in. Oh my God, that drives me nuts. Because I have this like the way that my mind works imagination wise is I do like an animation of what I feel like's going on, and it's like 30 pounds of pressure of like stuff trying to get out of your body, and then like back exploding, you know what I mean, because you're holding it in. But my wife doesn't even like the way I blow my nose. Like, I grew up in a house where like a lot of people had allergies and were sick a lot of time. And I thought I knew. You ever like think that you're doing something right all your life, and then somebody comes along and is like, dude, that's gross. What are you doing? And it's like, no, isn't this what everybody does? Like, doesn't everybody, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think everybody does it, where you blow your, see, I'm sorry for coughing. Yeah, I'm not sorry. You blow your nose into the tissue. What do you do at that moment? Do you like give your nostrils a little hi and hello? Do you maybe wrap the finger in the tissue and kind of make sure nothing's dripping out? I mean, what do you do? What is the protocol for proper nose etiquette? Okay, I remember there was this little panda bear that would had a cartoon where he would like, this is how you, Oslo, I think his name was. And my daughter liked watching him when she was little. And he'd be like a secret agent or something. And he'd be like helping kids. And when they were like, I don't know what to do in this instance, you know what I mean? And so Oslo would show up. I hope I'm saying his name right. And he'd be like, this is how you brush your teeth. Or like, not even that. Like, he wouldn't even know how to do it. He would like fall into it by asking his secret agent buddies, like, well, what are we supposed to do or whatever? And then they'd be like, you do this, like, you know, brush your teeth. I don't know, whatever kind of instructional guide he gave. But he would do one day I saw him. Oso? What was this fool's name? He's like a panda bear. Anyway, in the episode was about blowing in the nose. So for the longest, I'm like, this panda taught me how to blow my nose, all right? So, like, don't criticize me. But I guess there was bits and pieces of things that I took from growing up. I might, okay, let me see. I can show you. So, I grew up, like, if you're looking at the video, if you're just listening, I have a really beat up, torn up tissue, okay? And this was an actual real tissue that I kept in my pocket and would kind of bring it out if I needed to cough or whatever. But it's ragged, and you just never threw away a tissue when I was growing up, because in my mind, or like in the mind of somebody growing up, not having a tissue is worse than having a ragged piece of. See, I have another one in this pocket. This one's nicer though. Had less life to it. Haven't blown my nose in it yet, but it's there, right? So this is a carry with me tissue there. So this would look like that eventually. Like, okay, I was in a public place and I needed a tissue, and I didn't have anything. All I had was this little rag. So, you know, you kind of make sure that you're not a dripping faucet or something. And I mean, and I apologize if that sounds gross to anybody if I'm crossing any line, but I'm just trying to be honest. There goes another jet. But it's got me paranoid at this point, because I don't know. You know, I mean, I think, you know, you get the tissue, you put it around your general nose holes, and you give it a go, and you do what you got to do, and at the end of it, I mean, I kind of make sure nothing's hanging out or dripping out. Whatever, dude. Leave me something in the comments. Tell me something at lostlikemike@gmail.com, and I'm really not trying to solicit like, you know, this isn't my portion of like interaction to encourage people to listen. I'm just saying, because I'll do something and then my wife's like, God, you're so embarrassing. And it's like, I don't understand, but I would like to. Speaking of embarrassing in general regarding this and a humbling experience, I went through an entire Chick-fil-A drive-through, okay, with my son. We were hanging out, and I'm 90% sure, okay, that this happened afterwards. However, for that 10% possibility that it happened before, I'm mortified. But okay, so long and the short of it was that we got up to oh yeah, this is why it was a humbling experience. So we were trying to exit. If you've ever been to a Chick-fil-A, the parking lot gets pretty aggressively like full, and you're trying to leave, and so there was all these cars in the street, and the light is red. And this guy has plenty of space in front of him and plenty of space behind him, but he's right in front of me. And so I'm like, I was telling my son, I said, this dude, commit, move forward, get get within the legal space behind the dude in front of you, and I can come out behind you. Or, you know, why are you right there in front of me? I mean, you could reverse. Or, I mean, why are you messing with me, dude? Like, are you trying to not let me out of this parking area? Because I think that's not nice. And that was the first thing I said. And then I started making fun of his sunglasses. And I'm not proud of myself for this. But he had these big, what is that guy's name? Randy Savage. Oh yeah, snap into a Slim Jim. That guy, he had these big giant glasses, and he had a funky haircut. And so I started mocking him and like telling my son, I don't want to move. I'm making, jokes. I'm happy where I'm parked or whatever. And I'm being a little bit theatrical about it, and I'm laughing with my son. And then two things happened simultaneously. One, I flicked my nose in kind of like did a number where I hit my nose, and I was like, because I had like this overwhelming itch all of a sudden. I didn't pick my nose, but I flicked it sideways, like while I was making a joke to my son. The second thing that happens is the guy sitting in the car motions like, I've allowed you this opportunity to exit the parking lot in front of me. I didn't notice that I mean, because he was right in front of me, I didn't notice that if I pulled to the right, if I could do a little S and steer in front of him. It wasn't obvious. The real move would have been for him to move up, but he was trying to guarantee that I'd get out, so he just was waiting for me to do the S move and get in front of him. So in that moment I felt like the biggest jack, like this like jackass. Like I thought, oh well, like I'm the jerk now because I'm making fun of this nice good Samaritan who is like totally willing to let me sneak in front of him. And so I just shut up and I pulled out and I waved thank you to him or whatever. And then I look in the rear view, right? And I see that I have a booger on my nose. If you've ever been to a Chick-fil-A, the person takes your order, is standing there with an iPad of some sort, and they're talking to you face to face. And they're like, what can I get you? It's my pleasure, whatever. But they're right up in your grill. Would you like sauce with that? Whatever. And then next, you go to the next checkpoint, which was this big open door kind of thing in the drive-thru area, because they're so busy that they have to run out and take orders to people's cars and stuff. And, oh, your order's not ready, so I'm talking to 2-3 different people. And they're here's your drinks. Your food's about to come up. Don't worry about it. And so in my heart of hearts, I really believe that when I had the itch and I flicked my nose, in the middle of making jokes with my son, I feel like that's when I must have, but if not, then that was like the instant karma that I think that I've ever had, or a little, precursor karma, like the God in the universe knew that I was being an ass and needed a little bit of a high, and a little lesson learned, right? In that moment, my son was laughing so hard, but I was saying, what good are you if you can't back me up? If hey Dad, guess what? Something's different about your face that's not normally like that, and I need you to fix it. I would back him up. I would back up anybody that way. I mean, I would at least even kind of like mess with my mustache, and hopefully the person would catch the clue. But God, just mortified. At the same time, I don't really care. But I was mortified in that moment because I think it really was just that. I know it's like residual. When I was like in the third or fourth grade, my neighbor went to the same private school that I went to, and she started talking to me like, "Hey, what's up?" Blah blah blah. Um, and when she saw me in the hallway, she's like, "Oh my God, you've got buggers all over your face," and like stopped me and like, and real quick, I put my hand on my face, and I guess I had just like second grader level, booger face, like when you just, I don't know, there's some moment of awakening that happens during this period where like prior to that it's like, who cares, boogers are all over my face, and then another moment where your neighbor points out that you have all this crusty junk all over your face, and it hits you a different way. But ever since that moment, I was always scarred. I mean, even in high school, I carried around a little mirror. People thought I did cocaine, but I carried a little mirror so that whenever I was obsessively um, sure that I had something hanging out my nose, I could just quietly pull this mirror out. If not, I'd be like sniffling the whole time, like something's up there. I just know it. Something's poking its little, booger face out, and it's just when, all the cool people are walking by. But yeah, I mean, it's just a paranoia thing. And I've told the story before when I was at the gas station with my father, and I picked my nose, and there was, a group of kids in the back of a truck, and they were like pointing at me, and all that was kind of fun. And people don't think boogers are as cool as you think they do. Like, I'm not saying that I think that people think that boogers are cool, but I remember I was with, I guess it was, it was my wife. I'm sure it was. Whoever the person was didn't think it was cool, but anyway, well, I digress. I was, my nose felt stuffed, and I had a tissue, and I blew my nose. Oh, this is going to be a horribly disgusting story, and I have to apologize. But there was like a whole like fly, like there was a bug that somehow had gotten into my nose. And I thought it was the craziest thing in the world. And I was like, hey, look, like if this was like some sort of like brain eating, bug, I would like be dead or something right now. Cause look, I just caught this bug in my nose. And I don't think my wife liked that idea of me sharing that. I was messing with her today because, well, I showed you that raggy tissue, right? Well, I was desperate not to leave. I wanted to, I was trying to stick it out and hang out with her. Well, I was really sick. And 2 holes wore into the tissue, and there was a third one. So when I was trying to like fold the tissue back to like make it a nice tissue, I was like, oh snap, like look, I showed her, there's 2 holes in a mouth. I could put it over my face like a mask. She didn't like that one either. I probably shouldn't do things like that in public with her. But if if somebody's your ride or die, every now and then you got to test it, okay? That's my word of advice for this week. If you have a ride or die, and the person contends that that's what they are, then every now and then you should test it and see if they would stand by you while you make a face mask out of a used tissue. If they're not, then question their loyalty. I know I do. Okay. No, I don't. I'm just playing. But I think that I'll let this last jet pass by, and I think I'm going to call it for the week. I do pay for a premium to have this hosting station do my podcast, to put it out there on all the audio only formats, like your Spotify's and the Google podcasts, and I think it's like 20 or 30. There's like a ton of them that they post. Stitch and all these different ones, right? And they allot a certain amount of time that I'm paying for. And whether I use it or don't, they charge me. So I may start doing an additional program every now and then. But look out for that. I'll maybe make a comment about it whenever I do that. I'll say, hey, this is this bonus episode. Because I really want to use all that time that I'm being given. Anyway, but I think happy episode 45 or 46, whatever this is. We're nearing 1 year of doing this show, and it's been a tremendous help for me, just with vocalizing things that are on my mind. And I thank you for that opportunity. If it's helped anybody, I hope that it has. I'd like to believe that that's happening out there, that somebody out there is saying, I too have found a bug in my tissue after blowing it. I'm just playing, but I really do like to think that people are relating to me on some level, and feeling better about their mental state based on the things that I share. Because I know I do through the comments and through the shared experience that I talk to people and that have listened to the program. All right, well, I will see y'all next week, and take care of yourselves, and thank you for listening. All right, bye.